Welcome back to SI Motor, the place where motorcycle passion meets future imagination. Today, we are talking about something truly legendary, the possibility, design idea, and riding experience of the 2026 Yamaha SR400. Visuals open with a slow cinematic sunrise shot on an empty highway, mist floating above the road, and a modern retro motorcycle silhouette standing still, waiting to ride. The host walks toward the bike, touches the tank, and begins speaking in a calm, excited tone. The host continues voiceover saying that the Yamaha SR400 is not just a motorcycle, it is a philosophy. Originally introduced in the late 1970s, the SR series stayed in production for decades because riders loved its simple, mechanical, and pure riding feel. The SR400 was produced from 1978 all the way until around 2021, making it one of the longest-running classic-style motorcycles ever built. Visuals show old archive footage fading into modern cinematic shots of a futuristic SR-style concept bike riding through city streets. The host explains that historically, the SR400 used a 399cc single-cylinder, air-cooled, 4-stroke engine. It produced roughly around 22 to 23 horsepower and about 27 Nm torque, focused more on smooth torque and character rather than high-speed racing performance. Visuals show piston animation, engine cutaway renders, and slow-motion throttle twisting shots. The voiceover says this is why riders loved it: simple engine, strong low-end pull, and mechanical feel. Now the host shifts to the 2026 imagination. If Yamaha ever brought back the SR400 in 2026, it would likely keep the classic DNA. Visuals show a modern concept SR with retro tank shape, chrome twin shocks, and spoke wheels. The host says the design would probably keep the slim fuel tank, round headlight, flat seat, and twin shock rear suspension because these are signature SR elements loved worldwide. But technology would evolve. The host voice becomes slightly more energetic. A 2026 version would likely include LED lighting for better visibility and efficiency. A small full digital or semi-digital display could appear while still looking retro. Fuel injection would stay but be more efficient. Safety upgrades like ABS would almost certainly be included because modern regulations demand it. Visuals show digital cluster animations and LED light glow effects. The host explains riding feel possibilities. A modern SR400 would probably still focus on smooth city riding, relaxed highway cruising, and pure mechanical connection between rider and machine. Not super fast, not track-focused, just real motorcycling. Visuals show rider cruising coastal roads, city night ride scenes, and slow countryside shots. Then the host talks about why bikes like SR400 matter today. In a world of complex electronics and huge horsepower numbers, many riders want simplicity. The SR400 historically was even famous for keeping kick-start-only starting, which made riders feel more connected to the machine. Visuals show slow-motion kick-start sequence with engine firing up dramatically. The host says this ritual feeling is something many riders still love. The host continues explaining that modern classic bikes are trending globally. Riders want bikes that look timeless but work reliably every day. A 2026 SR400 could perfectly fit this trend, especially for new riders, collectors, and retro bike lovers. Visuals show mixed-age riders enjoying the same bike, showing emotional connection across generations. The voiceover becomes more cinematic and emotional. The host says imagine riding a 2026 SR400 early morning, cold air, engine thumping slowly, simple analog-style display glowing, and pure mechanical sound with modern reliability. That is the magic Yamaha could create if they ever revived this legend. Visuals show sunrise highway ride with cinematic lens flare. The host now talks about possible market position. If released, a 2026 SR400 would likely compete with modern retro bikes from brands like Royal Enfield, Kawasaki Retro Series, and Honda Retro models. But Yamaha would have advantage because SR name already has history and emotional value. Visuals show generic retro bike silhouettes side by side, no brand comparison text, just style. The host ends with emotional storytelling. The SR400 was never about being the fastest. It was about being honest, simple, and timeless. And if Yamaha ever brings it back in 2026, it would not just be a motorcycle release, it would be a cultural comeback. The host looks at the bike and says, some motorcycles are machines, but some become memories. And State Route 400 is one of those. Visuals fade into slow rolling highway night ride with taillight glowing in darkness. The host smiles and says thank you for watching SI Motor. If you love classic motorcycles, future bike concepts, and legendary machine stories, make sure you subscribe, like, and share. Visuals show SI Motor logo animation with engine sound fading out slowly.